A disappointing loss at Dayton. Thought we played well in stretches. Watched the game twice. And if you really look back and critique the game, big stretch, we're up 3, 17-14. TJ misses a layup. Dexter misses a wide open 3. And on the road against a really good team, those are the plays you got to be able to finish to put your lead up 5, 7, or 8 to be able to withstand a run. And we played well first 16 minutes of the half, and then the last 4 minutes, again, similar to Valpo, we let the game get away from us and ended up going to halftime down 8. Second half cut it to 5, and it's kind of hung around that 8 to 10 point range really the majority of the second half to the last 4 minutes, and again we kind of broke and withered. But credit Dayton, very good basketball team. It's a tough place to win, but we've got to get better at the certain things we keep talking about. Rebounding, making free throws, untimely turnovers, and then finishing plays around the basket. It's amazing if you really charted how many layups, literally layups we missed, 8 to 10 layups, and those are big possessions against good teams. So excited about conference play. I just read something this morning out of Scripture that, you've got to move forward or you're going to forget about tomorrow. You're not going to be prepared for tomorrow. So we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, not just these 12 games that we played. I've learned a lot about our team and the program and myself really over this last year and a half. So that's a positive for me going forward, and I think for our team and our program. So SEMO's good, very, very talented. I think they have 2 guys that could easily be considered the player of the year in the league right now, in Jarekus Bradley and Tyler Stone. Good guard play with the young kid Cleveland. And then Lucas Nutt is, 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio is tremendous. So I know Darian Gray, we've recruited a lot of these kids, Nino Johnson, Darian Gray, Bradley, Stone, familiar with those guys, either just because of the location in Memphis or, recruiting some of them. So Coach Nutt's doing a great job, and they're off to a really good start. Tough loss the other day at Missouri State in a kind of a fluke shot that the kid made as a 1-foot runner. They probably go to overtime, but they scored the biggest stat of that game. They scored 50 points in the last 17 minutes. They really, really can score, and SEMO is going to provide a lot of different matchup issues that we're going to have to really change and tinker and move things around to be able to guard them for 40 minutes.
Tell us about Bradley. He's kind of jumped on this team. Is that a surprise? He's this good this week?
No, he's good. He's good. He was good in high school. He was good in the AAU circuit. Was good while he was up at Kent State. I don't think this good, but the talent's always been there, and he's a difference maker on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. The great thing about him is he can play the perimeter. He can score on the perimeter, and he can score around the basket. He can go, if they want to go small, he can play the 4. If they want to go big, he can play the 3, shooting it, rebounding it, doing everything, possible right now. And, probably if he's got to be one of the top, if not the top player in the league right now.
Past 2 games against Western and Dayton, you've been out-rebounded by a pretty large amount. What do you think is the problem? Is that players being out-hustled? Is it, what is going into that? Or is it just matchups that y'all don't match up with?
Well, Western and Dayton, and if you look at the teams that have physical front courts and bigger size at all positions, middle, Dayton, Western had good size, 3, 4, 5. Price is a. I was watching him play Ole Miss last night. I mean, his body's awesome. Fant, Adoy, those guys have good bodies, and so those teams that have that size, they provide us a lot of problems, especially when we go 4 guards. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to a lot of toughness and being able to make tough plays, 50-50 plays that in the past we've been able to make. And I think my first year, I don't think we were a great rebounding team. I know we went to Tennessee State and we won big, but we got out-rebounded. I think Covington and those guys, they had a ton of offensive rebounds. But it was even or -1, +1. It was in that range. Right now, we're getting it taken to us, and it's a point of emphasis. It is every day. But if you're going to play 4 guards, they've got to get tougher and tough-minded and go rebound. If you're going to play big, the bigs we're playing's got to rebound, and we don't have a a wholesale lineup of big guys right now. It's just the way things worked out this year, and that's something we'll address going forward.
How frustrating has it been for you? 'Cause I noticed, especially against Dayton, especially blocking out free throws, getting offensive boards.
Yeah. If you watch the game, the possessions were given up. I hate zone. We played zone. We didn't execute our zone. They scored 8 points in zone. They scored 4 points in three-quarter court pressure. So that's 12 points. And no telling how many off second chance points they got. It's not our first shot defense. Our first shot defense has gotten a lot better from game one. But free throw box out, that's being disciplined, that's attention to detail, and that's what's bothering me as a coach, that we're not doing those little things. And I've got to get better so I can get these guys better.
Also, just address, I know 2 timeouts per on inbound plays. Is that something we're working on?
Dayton puts their 5-man on the ball, and then they switch everything. So, if you look at, I went back and charted it. We scored 4 points off underneath out of bounds. We turned it over, and I think we gave up 1 point. I told the guys, if you can't get in, you got any indecisiveness, first half, call timeout before we give a turnover like we did in the second half. I try to be too tricky in the second half. We're trying to run a lob play for Jarvis. But it's not about what we're doing. It's about the execution and the effort, and it wasn't very good. And their screening angles and how hard they're cutting, and that's got to be better. And we watched film today, we watched film yesterday, and they've got to get better. We don't have the depth that we would like, so if guys are tired, they got to get out, and so get some quick rest and then get back in. Because if you watch the one play we turned it over in the second half, the cutting in that was ridiculous. And it has nothing to do with what we're running, because we're not because when we execute, chart our first half execution, chart our second half execution when we do that. When we come out of certain situations, we score. But when things get going and we get fatigued, we stop cutting. We were supposed to screen our own man. We didn't screen our own man. That's what you do against switching defenses, and everything breaks down, and then the coach looks like the fool.
In the past 2 games, Farrell has gotten off to really good starts, and the foul trouble has bit him again. How are you going to try to go about, I know you've already been trying to do it, but getting Farrell more minutes, keeping his fouls down? Is that just discipline for him, not picking up the stupid fouls?
Yeah, he's got to earn more minutes. We've got more disqualifications this year, 12, than I had Dave give me the stats. I think in the last 4 years combined at this point, we had like 16 in the last 4 years combined, and now we're at 12. It's laziness, it's bad fouls, it's not being in position. I told Farrell this morning in film, if you're tired, get out, because we're getting hurt on the defensive end or we're giving up bad fouls. Now he's playing better on the offensive end, but he's got to rebound and defend for us to be a championship level team. You can't win big, if you can't rebound and you can't defend. Now we're getting better in our half-court defense. That wasn't a 20-point game at Dayton. If you watch the game and critique the game, it was an 8 to 10 point game. And then the last 3 minutes, I got ticked off. I got frustrated, gave him points on a technical foul because the kid traveled. Sapp's technical wasn't it was a double technical, but we didn't get back in transition defense, and the game changed. And I showed the guys in 3 plays. It went from 11 to 18 the last 3 minutes in 3 plays. So offensively, we're getting good shots. We're settling for threes where we need to be putting pressure on the basket a little bit more, but we're not finishing. And we got to finish plays, and we got some younger guys. Cam, he's got to get bigger and stronger in the offseason. But right now, we don't have an offseason, so he's got to be smarter right now. Our guys are leaving the lane they're leaving 2-3 steps too far out. They got to drive it in there harder and be tougher and tough-minded and finish plays, and then we'll score in the 70s. If we can score 70 plus, then we'll start winning games.
How's Zach Henderson coming along with his hand? Would you expect to be able to get a little more out of him?
he's got to earn the right to get a little bit more. He's got to earn the right. You got to do it in practice. You got to do it in practice. You got to perform in practice. I love the quote we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's a do league. It's not a try league. It's a do league, and you got to do it in practice to give me confidence to put you in the game. I think his hand's still a little tender because you can see him grimacing and not being able to catch it. The things Zay does, though, he knows what we're doing. He knows our principles, so he'd be one. But SEMO, it'd be hard to play Zay and Jonathan Farrell at the same time when they don't play traditional fives. They don't even have traditional fours. Stone and Bradley are really at the next level, are threes that we're going to have to chase around, so we're going to have to be really locked in.
The past couple of years, you've had players, Cam and Daniel, that have been able to be leaders on the floor for you. This year, with so many new players, and Dexter being here the longest, has anyone kind of emerged that you've seen maybe, or you're still waiting on someone to maybe step out as a leader on the floor so you can let them, if they're doing something wrong, you can just let them do the talking to you?
Yeah, still waiting, so I've got to do a better job with that. My staff and I've got to do a great job leading. We've got to be the leaders right now until Sap can get a little bit more integrated and Cam can get a little bit older and Jarvis can understand what we're doing. Jarvis, Cam, Sap, those are talented guys, but they've got to know what we're doing. And, the thing, I talked to Cam, I met with Cam yesterday, and I told him, I said, the great thing about when Isaiah got here, the depth was so great that he got his butt beat in practice every single day. BJ and Isaac Miles wore him out. Now, Isaiah still looked good because Isaiah was really good, but he got beat up every day. Daniel got beat up his first couple years. That gold team, they were gold guys. The starters my first year, those guys were on the gold team the first year we won 31 games. So that stuff will come as we get a little bit more experience and a little bit more depth into the program.
Talk about Lucas Nutt, what he does for Southeast, especially as a system.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody's like, Lucas Nutt. And then you look at that stat, man, and his stats are terrific. Coach's son, so obviously very heady, tough kid. But 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, that's terrific. I mean, you can't ask for anything better. And the best thing I think he does is he understands his role. He's out there to run offense, distribute the ball, and make unselfish plays. And he's done a great job. Like I said, 80% from the line. His shooting numbers are a little down, but they don't need him to score. They've got 3-4 guys who can go get double figures at big numbers. And, really 5 guys almost with Nino Johnson. So, but he's been terrific, I think, for him and really distributing the ball. Anytime you go 3-to-1 assist turnovers is terrific. And that's why Cam's 2-to-1 as a freshman, which I think is really good.
Your opening conference play at home, obviously you've done really well this year at home. Talk about the benefits. You're opening up with SEMO, a team a lot of people thought were going to be, win the West.
Yeah.
How beneficial is that to start against one tough team on the scene at home?
Well, we'll find out where we're at because, I can't sit here and come back and say, oh, well, we're playing a tough non-conference schedule. No, we're in conference now, and we're expected to win, and we need to win. I was watching the Coach Nutt show last night on TV, the coach's show, and he said he's going to walk in here, and it's going to be 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. And we need that. We need that environment in here because it's the opening. It's 0-0. We won our Western Division championship last year. We won 3 straight conference championships outright the previous 3 years before that. And, we're on our road to try to win another championship. So we need a great crowd. We need great support. SEMO is really good. It's going to really give us a measuring stick of where we're at. We've played well our last 3 home games. Middle, we played well in stretches. We made a good run in the second half, but there was a late surge in the first half against Middle that we really lost that game. And we've lost a lot of games in the last 4 minutes of that first half. And the game Thursday is going to come down, can we defend them for 40 minutes?
The last game didn't get a whole lot out of Dexter. I know you've been sick earlier.
Yeah, he's not sick. No, he's not sick. He's got to give us more. Senior, you can't go 0 for 1. He's got to make shots for us. He's got to guard one of the top perimeter guys on the other team, and he's got to rebound. And he's got to be able to defend the basketball. And we need more from him. We need more from Jeff Moss on the perimeter. We need more from those guys to step up. And it's going to be critical for those guards to play well. They haven't shot the basketball well the last couple games. Dexter, Jeff, TJ and Cam both didn't shoot it well. Cam really the last 2 games, I think he's 4 for 20 the last 2 games. And Sapp, I knew the three-point shooting would come down a little bit because it was at such a high level in 2 games, but he's going to kind of settle off. If he can settle off in that 40% range, then he'll still be able to get us a good, really good double-figure numbers.